think we should talk about what happened at the top of the Big 12 yesterday. Kansas knocked off Texas Tech, who continues to look like a really mediocre team. They're 6-6 in the Big 12 now. And West Virginia came back from 19 down in the second half to beat Texas. Let's start with Kansas and Texas Tech, because I don't want to go down the whole, he was fouled. Oh, it was a terrible call at the end of the Texas game, because I know that's what's going to end up happening. So give me your Kansas Texas Tech takes. How worried are you about the Fighting Chris Beards? How confident are you in the Fighting Bill Selfs? It feels like this is it was a little bit of a momentum changer for both teams.
Yeah, I mean, again, I feel like with whatever we've said about Kansas and their talent level, and it's not like Kansas good, like Final Four. It just doesn't look like Kansas good because they don't have that star. It doesn't mean they don't have good players at every position. They do. They've got good, solid players at every position. And to me, again, if they're making key three-pointers and defending at a fairly high level, I think Kansas is a team that can beat most teams out there. They can. That's not to say they're going to be able to get to the Final Four. They're going to need some help in order to do so, but they can guard. We know that. And Texas Tech, we talked about it yesterday. If you can find a way to keep Mac McClung from going off, Terrence Shannon was terrible. You have no idea what you're going to get out of Terrence Shannon if you're Chris Beard. And that's the problem. That's the problem for me in this Texas Tech team, right? He needed to be like Robin to Mac McClung being Batman. He needed to be able to get you 15 every single night. And if you're Chris Beard, like the Kyler Edwardses, the Kevin McCullers, they're solid players. Terrence Shannon needed to be that guy. NBA guys on the right night really like Terrence Shannon. But ultimately, you can't really trust him night in and night out. And I think Kansas, the one thing you can do now, I think you can trust Kansas's players for what they are for the most part, right? David McCormick's been better. He's not great.
Yeah, he has. I mean,
he's been better. He's not missing all those bunnies like he was early on in the year. His confidence is back up. Christian Brown, really, really nice player. Not a star. Agbaji, nice player, not a star. Jalen Wilson kind of hit that wall a little bit earlier in the year. He's bounced back a little bit now. So I like Kansas because the sum of their parts is still solid, but they're not going to blow you away. They don't have a guy that you can just say, hey, we're going to give the ball to, go get us a bucket. They don't have that.
Yeah, they're that quintessential. They're not going to lose games that they're supposed to win, but they're probably not going to win games that they're supposed to lose. They're a high floor, low ceiling. And your point on McCormick is correct. He's playing within himself now. And when he does that, when he seals in front of the rim, catches it, goes through contact, and just finishes right there, he's a really good post presence. And Bill Self has gotten
him to better than a 7, 8, or 9 seed. B2 Atlantic. Trust me, they will be better than a 7, 8, or 9.
Yeah, because here's the thing: they've won 5 in a row, but 3 of those games were Ohio State and Kansas State. So right. I mean, we'll see it ends up happening. They're fine. They're probably
they get Baylor. Listen, they get Baylor next week after a long layoff for Baylor.
Yeah, no, you're right. And winning that game would be huge for them in terms of getting better seeding. But no matter where Kansas gets seeded, to me, they're very much a team that's okay, you pick them to win the first round because I don't see them getting upset. But I don't know if they can beat a good team.
But I'll play devil's advocate there for you. I'll play devil's advocate. Let's say they're on the 6th line, which is, right, I think, where they'll probably be. If I had to guess, I'd say they're like a 6 seed.
Oh, could you imagine Kansas Duke in the first round of the NCAA tournament?
Right. Very well could be.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Very well could be. And if they win that, you're talking about Kansas getting let's say an Iowa or a who they get, a Virginia or something like that.
They could absolutely beat Virginia in the second.
They're winnable games. That's all I'm saying. They're winnable games. Villanova,
I don't think they can beat Villanova. I don't think
if they're making threes, they can.
I don't think that they can beat Iowa. Although I do think that literally anybody can beat Iowa. So maybe I lied to myself on that one. Sorry, I lied to the stream. I'm sorry, guys. Please forgive me. So I just want to make one point on Texas Tech, and then we can talk about West Virginia, Texas. When Chris Beard took that team to the national title game, like I don't think people there was a lot of talk of, oh, he's got these grad transfers, oh, like he's got some guys that were under recruited players, oh, he's got all these hidden gems.
Yeah.
But like Jarrett Culver was the number 6 pick in the draft. Matt Mooney's still playing. He played in the NBA at the end of last season. He's still with. I think he's with the
in the NBA.
Yeah, like Tariq Owens played in the NBA. Like he had pros on that roster. He had a top 10 pick, and he had 2 23-year-olds that are now playing in the NBA. 2 redshirt seniors that are now playing in the NBA, right? And surrounded them with a bunch of really good role players. When he made the Elite Eight, he had the Big 12 Player of the Year and one of the most underrated players in college basketball, and Keenan Evans at the point, with Jarrett Culver as a freshman, with Zaire Smith as a freshman on that roster. So that team was really, really good and had pros all over that roster.
Yeah.
This year's team, like they don't have pros. They're not loaded with great players, and it's kind of showing through. So, I mean, I think Beard is doing a really good job with what he has, but it's like you kind of have to recognize like what he has is not necessarily the greatest roster he's ever had. All right, West Virginia, Texas. Shaka Smart has a right to be very, very angry at the way that game ended. There were at least 2 fouls that were committed by West Virginia on the final possession. Greg Brown got held trying to get over a screen. Jericho Sims got fouled, tipping the shot in at the rim. Now, if you want to make the argument that Jericho Sims caught the ball, the time would have elapsed. Like there wasn't enough time for him to do what he did, so that foul shouldn't have counted. Okay, you're right, but Gabe Osabuohien still tried to arm tackle Greg Brown as he went around a screen. That's illegal. That is a foul. That is a hold. 100% of the time, there is no excuse for the referees missing that. That said, Texas can't really complain about shit. They lost. They were up by 19, and they blew that lead in part because like the air went out of that team when Courtney Ramey and Andrew Jones got in a very close to a physical altercation because Andrew Jones did not close out on a shooter. So. What was your take on Texas? Like West Virginia, they're awesome. They're fun. They score a lot of points. There's no different in our take on them based off of like anything that we've seen over the course of the last 3 weeks. So I want to focus this on Texas a little bit.
I mean, my take on Texas is honestly that it concerns me that the mental fragility of the Texas Longhorns. That's what I would say in this case is like, okay, you got 2 guys who've been playing with each other for a while. If you handle it that way, you figure out a way to kind of nip it in the bud quickly, right? If you're Courtney Ramey and you do that, you got to figure it out because you can't let that fester like it did. And Andrew Jones, a veteran, if he screwed up, you pull him aside, you say something, and you kind of you figure it out and you move on. But I think honestly, this is a team that, remember, it wasn't that long ago they were 10-1. They were 10-1, Rob. Now they're 13-6. So I think that's a part of it. They were rolling with no adversity, 0 adversity earlier. Everybody's telling them how good they were. And this was a group that had never tasted success together, right? I mean, Shaka was supposed to be fired this year, last year, the year before. And instead they're winning. And then all of a sudden some adversity hits and they don't know how to handle it. And they kind of revert back to maybe the way they had been. And now you're talking about a team that, listen, you still got Kansas at home and Texas Tech on the road to close out the regular season. You lose those 2, you're 7-7 in Big 12 play after your start. I mean, you were so good early. So, I think they got to figure out a way to get that locker room squared away or else they're in major trouble.
Yeah, it's very concerning to me to see the way the air went out of that bench and out of that team after that little skirmish. Skirmish, like arguments like that it's not that rare in a locker room, right? Like these are competitive guys with adrenaline flowing. Like there's going to be times that you disagree. There's going to be times that you go at each other's head. And there's going to be times that you end up, even there's going to be fights in practice. Like that's not that uncommon in a team setting. It is uncommon to see it come to what it came to on a sideline. And seeing the way that everyone reacted kind of makes me think like this is not the first time we've seen something like that happen. Like if Courtney Ramey is going to go at Andrew Jones on national television on the sideline in a game where they're up by 19 points, there's got to be more to it. That can't just be the only thing that's happened between them.
Yeah, and I gotta say, like, if West Virginia just stops, giving people these 19, 21 point leads, man, they'd be a lot better. They'd be a lot better. Like they start doing that in the tournament, they're in trouble. I love them and all, but like you don't want to be getting used to doing that and saying, hey, we can come back, we can turn it on when we want. They're a fun team to watch, though. They are a fun.
Oh, there's so much. I mean, they don't play any defense and they chuck a bunch of threes. Like,
right.
What's better than that?
And they're coached by Bob Huggins.
Yeah, what's better than that? They're all
what the hell? That is 2021. Like that's the pandemic. That sums it up. Like, what the hell is going on? We've got Bob Huggins coaching a team that just doesn't care about defense and just jacks up threes, and he's okay with it. It's crazy.
Yeah. He's loving it. He's having fun. He's watching the team that's entertaining.